Hello, and welcome to AAC in Communication, an AAC training brought to you by VUSD's Assistive Technology team. Today, we will be speaking about AAC basics, your role, functional communication, implementation strategies, strategies for success, common concerns. Before we begin, we're going to watch a short video of a few people using AAC.
My name is Tommy. Dog. Woof, woof. Woof, woof.
My name is Rose. Hand mixer, give. Me. Hand mixer.
My name is Emily. I love it. That was so cool. I love it. That was so cool.
Being nonverbal
Doesn't mean
We can't speak.
we want to show you who we are.
Anywhere and
And
anytime.
So as you can see from this video, we're going to talk about four things. First, we want to follow the 5-second rule. This means that our students or children have access to their device at any time. It is no further than 5 seconds away from them, not in a backpack, not on a shelf. It is within their reach. We honor babbling and exploring. As you saw, these different individuals were able to create different communication, either very basic or advanced. They were able to do this because they had time to babble and explore their device. We need to make sure that we are setting time aside for this, either with an adult or on their own. And when they do babble and they say things to us on their device that we don't quite understand, we still should honor it by responding to it as though they have said something to us. For instance, a student might spam the word cookie, and instead of ignoring them, we're going to respond, "Oh, I'm sorry, friend, we can't have a cookie right now." Or, "Oh, I like cookies too. They're really great." Being able to show them that their words have meaning. Use the correct verbiage in relation to their devices. Instead of calling it their tablet or their iPad, we're going to call it their talker, their voice, their AAC. We're going to give it autonomy. We're going to give it to be a part of them so that they can say, "Oh, this is my voice and how I communicate." And again, we do not want their devices to be kept in backpacks or on a shelf. This would deter them from being able to use their voice and would keep their access away from it. So we want to make sure it's always out and available. The basics. What exactly is AAC? AAC is augmentative and alternative communication. Essentially, AAC is any communication tool that adds to or is used instead of spoken language. No tech. No tech means there is no extra equipment needed. Students' point, gesture, facial expressions, and body language is no tech AAC. That includes ASL. Light tech. Light tech means no battery required. These include picture symbol books and boards, writing, and alphabet boards. That also includes things like text binders and icons. Mid-tech. Mid-tech means it is battery operated. These are voice output buttons, Big Mac buttons, Go Talks, and step-by-steps. Lastly, what you'll most likely see most often are high-tech. High-tech is systems that require technology. This includes tablets, computers, and speech-generating devices. Who uses AAC? Anyone can use AAC, and many people benefit from access to it. Anyone who does not have consistent, effective, and reliable use of spoken language may benefit from the use of AAC. There is a misconception that AAC is solely for non-speaking individuals, but this isn't true. AAC is sometimes used temporarily and is sometimes used long-term. This depends on the unique needs of the individual. What is the end goal? The end goal of AAC is to provide individuals with access to reliable, effective, functional communication, whatever that looks like. This might include a combination of communicative modalities. For example, AAC, spoken language, gestures, physical means, sign, and body language, as well as other examples. Ultimately, the goal is for individuals to have access to reliable communication for a variety of pragmatic functions in a variety of settings with a variety of people. The end goal is not for an individual to communicate using mouth words or spoken language. The end goal is for an individual to be able to communicate their wants, needs, share ideas, opinions, and feelings, participate in social exchanges, protest things they do not like or do not want, and more. That being said, research supports that that access to AAC does not hinder speech or language development and has actually been proven to support speech and language development. Let's reframe the way you are thinking about AAC. I want you to start thinking about AAC as a completely different language, because it is. AAC equals a different language. Babies typically start using their first spoken words around 1 year of age, when they have already had nearly 12 months of consistent exposure to the language. Individuals who find mouth words or spoken language the most effective, efficient, and reliable form of communication are surrounded by others modeling language in the modality that they use everywhere they go since birth. AAC users have likely never been exposed to language modeling in the modality that we expect them to use. Think about this. The best way for a person to learn a language is to be wholly immersed in it. The fastest, most effective way to learn French would be to move to France and be surrounded by the language. This is true for AAC too. Individuals learn the language of AAC in the same way we learn any other language: consistent exposure. This means that we need to focus on providing consistent exposure and immersing AAC learners in the language of AAC. Total communication. An important part of teaching AAC is honoring all modalities of communication through total communication approach. All communication is valid. This means that even though we are focusing on teaching AAC, we are still acknowledging, accepting, honoring, and responding to all communicative attempts made in any modality. This can include AAC, facial expressions, spoken language, and approximations, physical means, such as grabbing, pushing away, hand leading, etc., gestures, such as pointing to, reaching for, etc., signing, body language, and use of proximity, as well as other things. What does this look like? If an individual communicates in any modality, acknowledge their communication, honor it, and respond to it. We want to provide individuals access to reliable, functional, effective communication in whatever modality is most effective efficient, and reliable. If you are 100% sure you understand what is being communicated, you can also model it for them on the AAC without expecting them to do so. For example, you are in the kitchen for snack time. You hold an apple and an orange. They reach for the apple. What you should do: acknowledge their communication reaching by giving them the apple, saying apple, and modeling apple on the AAC device as well. What you should not do: do not tell them that they need to use the AAC device to tell you. They already told you by reaching for the apple. Aided language simulation. We know that all individuals learn language best with consistent exposure, modeling, and immersion in language. Now what? You, the communication partner, have the power to provide consistent exposure, models, and immersion by demonstrating the use of the AAC system during naturally occurring opportunities throughout your daily routine. In aided language simulation, we are modeling communication in the language of AAC without the expectation that the individual will use their AAC system to respond. Remember, we do not expect babies to start using language immediately, and you definitely shouldn't expect me to start responding to you in French the day I moved to France. Learning a new language takes time, consistency, and patience. The act of modeling language on the AAC without forcing or even expecting a response is called modeling without expectation. When we provide aided language simulation, modeling without expectation, we provide input in the same modality as the expected output. Remember, if you are an individual who uses mouth words to communicate, you are surrounded by people using the same modality as you to communicate pretty much 24/7 from birth. If you are an AAC user, you have very likely never been exposed to anyone else communicating in the modality we expect you to use. Our goal should be to embed the language of AAC into as much of the day as possible. I'm going to watch a video. This video is called Modeling. Use AAC to teach AAC. We are going to learn 4 things from this video. Modeling throughout the day. Model in real, meaningful, and motivating situations. Model in conversation. And show you can use different words for different messages.
Modeling. Use AAC to teach AAC. No matter where you are in your adventure to build communication with AAC, modeling is a valuable strategy. Modeling means you point to words on the AAC tool as you speak. Ready, set,
Go.
go! Look, I like this book. Ah, look, we go to places, more outdoor places. Beach.
We go to beach.
We went to the beach. You cannot simply place an AAC tool in front of someone and expect that they will know how to use it to communicate. We need to model. AAC learners need to see AAC in use to communicate real messages in real situations. So, point to words on the AAC. When you first start, it can be difficult and feel clumsy. Everyone feels that way at first. Start small and build up your modelling. Focus on a few words to model at first. Every time you model, it will get easier. The most important thing is to start, give it a go. Get others involved. Who else in the team can model? Get friends, family members, classmates, and siblings modeling. The more the merrier. Now, you can model on your iPad or device, or even on a paper-based version. Model throughout the day, especially during real, meaningful, and motivating activities. Model in conversations. Show how you can use different words to communicate different messages. You do not have to model every word that you say. And sometimes the grammar might be wrong. All these things are okay. Modeling does not need to be perfect. You will make mistakes. Every time the learner sees you model, it builds their knowledge. Your modeling will help them to learn how they can use words to communicate.
Make it fun and enjoy the adventure.
For more information, read our full article in Learn AAC.
When using AAC, there is a prompt hierarchy in modeling. This includes things such as physical prompting, non-direct modeling, direct verbal modeling, indirect verbal modeling, direct visual gesture, indirect visual gesture, and aided language. Our key is to eventually be at that aided language. And we want to stay as far away from physical prompt as possible. Aided language is I press something on the device and they press something on the device. I say, how are you today? And they say, I'm doing good. However, physical prompting is taking a student's hand and making them say what you want them to say. What's the problem with that? Physical prompting and hand over hand prompting is an invasive prompting technique that involves using your hands to manipulate or move the individual's hands. For example, guiding an individual's hand to make a selection on the AAC device. When we model AAC, we do so without expectation. This means that we never tell an AAC learner to use their AAC system and never use physical prompting to force them to do so. Issues with using hand-over-hand AAC. It violates bodily autonomy, does not teach initiation, which is the goal. Instead, forces compliance, takes away the individual's ability to choose what, when, and why they communicate, can increase pressure and anxiety around AAC and communication, which can lead to AAC aversion, may not actually represent AAC users' thoughts, opinions, or desires. And research supports that modeling is more effective in teaching AAC. Your role in teaching AAC. By 18 months, babies have heard 4,380 hours of spoken language, and we don't expect them to be fluent speakers yet. If AAC learners only see symbols modeled twice weekly for 20 to 30 minutes, i.e. during speech therapy, it will take them 84 years for them to have the same exposure to aided language as an 18-month-old has to spoken language. Jane Corsten. This means that just modeling AAC during speech therapy is not enough. Consistent modeling throughout the day is crucial for AAC learners. If an SLP sees an AAC user 2 times weekly for 30 minutes, that is only approximately 0.5% of the week. The rest of the week is spent interacting with you and other communication partners. An essential predictor of success when introducing an AAC system is having strong communication partners. Don't take the advice. There will be times when it seems easier to just take the device away, especially when students are being loud with their device, they're being rude, or they're saying something that you just don't like. They could be saying no, but we will not take away the device. Why? This device is their voice. It is their right to communication. As we see in this photo, See me, see my AAC. It is never okay to take away or turn off my voice. When doing so, it's like covering their mouth, and we wouldn't do that with any other student. It would be wrong. What can you do instead? Teach how to lower the volume. Remind them it isn't time to talk. Acknowledge their request, but let the student know the request is not available. Provide time for exploring and babbling. Be understanding. They are learning a new language. We want to treat our students with honor and respect. We want to help them grow in their communication and to have their voice and to be able to use it. So we will never take their voice away, but we will teach them how to appropriately use it. Having a communication device doesn't make you an effective communicator any more than having a piano makes you a musician. Bielkelman, 1991. Functions of communication. When introducing AAC, it can be tempting to focus solely on requesting before modeling, teaching other functions. However, focusing on requesting alone significantly limits the AAC user's language exposure. Instead, focus on modeling language for a variety of communication functions, including denying, protesting, or refusing. Use strategies when misunderstood. Use a variety of greetings and partings. Ask and answer questions. Express feelings and opinions. Initiate a conversation. Tell stories and jokes. Make a variety of comments. Expand on ideas. Complain. Direct the actions of others. Maintain a conversation. It can also be tempting to attempt to form grammatically correct, complete sentences when modeling AAC. Instead, throw away grammar for now and stick to modeling, highlighting the most important words. For example, if I use spoken language to say, let's go to the park and play on the swings, I might only choose to model go and play using AAC.
Choosing what to model. Best practice for supporting AAC users is modeling core vocabulary. Core vocabulary words are a small set of high-frequency, highly flexible words that make up about 80% of what we say on a daily basis. These words are applicable across activities, topics, and environments. Examples include see, want, more, go, help, not, get, stop, good. In fact, researchers found that only 23 different words made up 96% of a toddler's language, and that in children between ages 5 and 8, 163 words made up 70% of their writing samples. Compare these to fringe vocabulary, which is made up of more specific words that we use in specific contexts. These make up about 20% of what we say on a daily basis. Fringe vocabulary words are made up primarily of nouns, are easily understood out of context, and can be combined with other core words. We should teach these as well, but our focus should be on teaching core vocabulary concepts. Examples of fringe words include milk, crackers, truck, crayon, giraffe, and ball. Teaching core vocabulary concepts gives us more bang for our buck. For example, if we teach an individual a fringe vocabulary concept like cookie, we can communicate one thing in one specific context. In contrast, if we teach an individual to use a core vocabulary concept like more, they can communicate for a wider range of purposes. They can request more hugs, more drink, more time doing an activity, or more tickles, and etc. Who teaches AAC? The family, speech-language pathologist, the general education teacher, the education specialist, the assistive technology team. Honestly, it is everyone. Everyone should be involved in teaching AAC. How can they do that? Let's look at some implementation strategies. These include start small, narrate your and their day, give them words, teach more, test less, avoid questioning, build AAC into daily routines, create continuity across settings, embrace mistakes, and create opportunities for communication. Start small and grow. The reality is that when you first start modeling AAC, it will likely feel hard, confusing, and clumsy. It feels this way for SLPs too. Start small and work your way up. It is unrealistic to expect to go from not knowing the language of AAC to modeling 24/7 during every interaction you have with an AAC user. Start by intentionally modeling a few words during a few set times during the day. Consider starting by consistently modeling a few target words during snack every day. Once that feels comfortable, start modeling a few words during playtime too. Start by focusing on one routine and building your way up until it feels natural to model throughout the day. Narrate the day. Narrate the day, both yours and theirs. Take advantage of the many opportunities to communicate. Narrate the day, both yours and theirs. Take advantage of the many opportunities for communication that exist throughout the day by narrating the things that you and the AAC user are doing, thinking, and feeling throughout the day. Modeling language in this way can help to provide context, teach new words, promote language comprehension, and increase vocabulary. Modeling language that you can use to express when you are feeling upset, frustrated, angry, hungry, sick, hurt, etc., can be impactful in teaching an AAC user how they can self-advocate and express when they have these feelings as well. Be cautious about making assumptions about what an AAC user is thinking or how they are feeling. When we are modeling, we do not want to tell an AAC user how they are feeling or what they are thinking. So unless you're 100% sure, stick to modeling observable behaviors. For example, we are jumping. Give them the words with caution. Pay attention to the things an AAC user is communicating in other modalities, such as physical means, gestures, body language, etc. Honor that communication and model those things on the AAC system. For example, if they communicate a request for an apple by reaching for an apple, model apple on the AAC system. If you offer them a snack and they push it away to indicate that they don't want it, model the language they can use to decline a snack. Proceed with caution. Use this strategy when you are 100% sure you know what the AAC user is communicating. We run the risk of teaching a concept incorrectly if you are not sure. If you model angry when the AAC user is actually feeling hungry, we could inadvertently teach angry in an incorrect context. Teach more, test less. Reduce the pressure. Instead of telling them to use AAC, we should show them how it can be used reliably, effectively, and functionally. For example, instead of saying use your words, we should model the words on their device. Instead of saying say it with your talker, we should model what they can say on their device. And instead of find blank, we should model finding it ourselves. When we do this, we show them how to use their device without needing prompting. And it shows them how we problem solve so they can also learn to problem solve. Avoid questioning. Bombarding an AAC user with questions can cause anxiety and increase the pressure to use the AAC system. Our goal is to decrease the stress an AAC user experiences by reducing the pressure to use the AAC system. By giving them autonomy over how, when, and why they use AAC, you are likely to increase their confidence and motivation. Decrease stress, pressure, increase confidence and motivation. We never want the AAC system to feel like a test. Of course, we want to know what an AAC user knows, but constant questions can cause an aversion. We may also be inadvertently setting individuals up for failure if we ask questions they do not know the answer to, or do not know how to navigate their AAC system to find the answer yet. Asking too many questions can lead to decreased motivation and increased frustration and can take away opportunities for learning through modeling. If something feels challenging, we are less likely to be motivated to use it. Plus, it is so much more important that an individual develops functional communication that allows them to interact, connect, and communicate with others in meaningful ways. Communication routines. Planning elaborate activities with targeted words embedded is great, but not necessary. You can and should simplify modeling by building communication routines into your daily schedule and activities. These are routines that you model the same way during the same activity every time. These are routines that you model the same way during the same activity every time. Building routines can help an AAC user anticipate the language associated with frequently occurring activities. It is a great way to help them begin to assign meaning to the language you're modeling. Try this. Every time you leave the classroom, model go. And every time you sit down for snack, model eat. Continuity across settings. Bring it with you. In order for an AAC user to use their AAC system, they have to have constant access to it. This means that you need to create a plan for the AAC system to travel with them to all the different places they go, whether that is them carrying it, you carrying it, or you throwing it in a bag or backpack. The goal is that it is readily accessible as often as possible. This also means that it is imperative that you discuss the logistics of having the AAC system available in settings when you are not with the individual, such as daycare, school, family members, and other places. And train communication partners who will be with them when you are not. Consider adding unrestricted access to AAC to an individualized education plan if they have one. Embrace mistakes. Embrace mistakes. In order for you to teach an individual the language of AAC, you also have to learn the language of AAC. Spend time exploring and playing around with the AAC system to get used to it. But don't worry about needing to be proficient in the language of AAC before you can model. One of the best teaching strategies is allowing an AAC learner to watch you struggle, explore the system, and problem solve when you can't easily find the words you are looking for. This will help them learn how to navigate the AAC system and problem solve as well. Most systems have a search or find feature that allows you to find specific words you may be looking for. Another great thing about modeling AAC is that you don't have to do it perfectly. It is okay to accidentally press the wrong symbol and have to repair your message. It is okay not to use perfect grammar or complete sentences right off the bat. In fact, I wouldn't recommend it. It is okay to have to spend extra time finding a specific word. As a bonus, modeling that it is okay to make mistakes can also take some of the pressure off using the AAC system. Provide opportunities. When modeling AAC, we should also actively create opportunities for AAC users to communicate without telling them to. Here are some examples of how to create opportunities. Wait time. Sometimes giving an expectant look and providing wait time may encourage an AAC user to initiate communication. Temptations. Place items that an AAC user may want to gain access to. For example, a favorite toy or a snack within their line of sight to create an opportunity for them to communicate a request for the item. Remember to honor and respond to all communication modalities. Routines. Creating communication routines that are the same every time helps build association between specific activities and language. It increases the likelihood that an individual will pick up on it. Be curious. Use open-ended statements and questions that encourage a response without directly asking for one. For example, I wonder what we should eat for dinner tonight. Avoid directing these statements, questions at the AAC user. Get creative in the ways you provide opportunities that might motivate an AAC user to communicate. Allow time for exploration. It's functional. Device exploration, which is sometimes viewed as just stimming or playing with an AAC system, is often an essential step in learning. When we hear phrases like, they're just stimming on their device, or they won't stop playing with it, we are assuming that in interacting with an AAC system in the same way, individuals are not using it functionally or with a purpose. The reality is that device exploration is functional, so we need to ensure AAC users have time for it. Device exploration may look like repeating specific vocabulary, navigating to seemingly random pages, making quick selections, activating off-topic vocabulary, putting device up to ear, or turning the volume up and down. Research suggests that AAC users need at least 200 opportunities to use their AAC system per day to be efficient communicators. These opportunities can and should occur naturally as you communicate throughout your daily routines. Strategies for success. How to make it work. Remove all demands and prompts. Make it less like work. When we present AAC as an option rather than a requirement and model without expectation, AAC users are much more likely to pick up on it and less likely to experience aversion. It is natural to avoid something that feels challenging to you. Remember, the AAC system is a tool to support functional communication. It is not meant to be used as a testing tool. Add preferred topics, interests, and focus on using it during activities that are highly motivating for the AAC user. Make it fun. Research supports that we learn best when we are having fun. It is no secret that an AAC user will be much more motivated to engage with the AAC system if we consider and embed their preferred topics and interests. Make sure it is accessible at all times. AAC users should have unrestricted access to the AAC system, especially as they start using it. This means that the system should, ideally, go with you to the playground, the cafeteria, the library, PE, art, and music. I often describe denying access to AAC as the equivalent of duct taping a speaking individual's mouth closed. Access to communication is a right, not a privilege. Integrating AAC into your daily routines and activities. In addition to keeping the AAC system accessible, integrate modeling of AAC into as many of your daily routines as possible. The more we model, the better the outcome. That being said, be patient with yourself. No one expects you to model 24/7, and there are many simple ways to incorporate this into your routine. Identify and attribute meaning to all modalities of communication. This includes AAC, body movements, behaviors, facial expressions, gestures, spoken language, and more. The goal is function, efficient, reliable communication, whatever that looks like for an individual. While we are focusing on AAC, it is important that we continue to honor, accept, and respond to all modalities of communication. Stick with it and be patient. Hang in there. AAC can take time, sometimes a long time, and it is normal to feel discouraged. Stick with it. Remember, we do not expect babies to start using the language we model until almost a year of nearly constant exposure and modeling. Get everyone involved. AAC users likely interact with many communication partners regularly. The more people we can get on board with modeling AAC, the better. More exposure means more progress. For individuals who find spoken language to be the most reliable, effective communication modality, language in their modality is likely being modeled for them by the majority of people in their lives: family, friends, classmates, on TV, at their grocery store, and more. Celebrate the little victories. Communication is a journey, not a destination. So celebrate the little victories along the way, and remember that so often the small things are really the big things. The least dangerous assumption principle was coined in 1984, which says, in the absence of conclusive data, educational decisions should be based on assumptions which, if incorrect, will have the least dangerous effects on the students. When considering AAC, presume competence is the least dangerous assumption. By presuming competence, we acknowledge that all people have the ability to communicate, think, and learn. By using this as a guiding principle, as we introduce AAC, we are more likely to provide access to robust language, provide a variety of opportunities for communication, and provide adequate instruction and modeling. All these things lead to better outcomes. When we do not presume competence, we often hold individuals back, denying access to robust communication and hinder their progress with AAC. Do's and don'ts of AAC. Do's. Model communication on the AAC system as often as you can. Presume competence. Focus on modeling core vocabulary concepts and key words. Model without expectation. Respect, honor, and acknowledge all modalities of communication. Allow AAC users to engage in exploration of the AAC system. Ensure AAC users have unrestricted access to AAC. Get everyone on board: family, friends, community. Give yourself and the AAC user grace as you navigate the process. Don't expect the AAC user to communicate without you modeling how. Don't demand prerequisite skills. Don't delete or hide vocabulary or start with a small grid. Don't use the AAC system to test the AAC user. Lay off the questions. Don't focus on modeling grammatically correct, complete sentences. Don't force or even directly prompt the AAC user to use their AAC system. Don't limit access to the AAC system. Don't give up on AAC because it is taking time. Don't compare your AAC progress to someone else. Be kind, gentle, and patient with yourself. A big part of this process involves you being kind, gentle, and patient with yourself. In my experience, working with AAC, this is one of the hardest parts for many communication partners, parents, family members, teachers, and friends. Introducing AAC can be exciting, but that doesn't mean there won't be moments when you feel like you aren't doing enough, when you feel overwhelmed, when you find learning the language of AAC really hard, and when you question if it's working. Make a commitment to yourself and the AAC user you are supporting to continue working, learning, and growing even when it's challenging. Ask for feedback and support from your SLP, teachers, the AAC community, and your assistive technology team. Remind yourself that it will be worth it in the end. You are doing enough. This is the end of the training. Thank you for participating and showing an interest in AAC. For more information, please visit our website, Everything AAC. For questions or concerns, please contact your assistive technology specialist or assistant. Thank you and have a wonderful day.